a reason to smile. The circle of light swirled around her, glowing brighter and brighter. The alien children laughed as their orbs danced in the air, weaving ribbons of color through the chamber. The girl in the wheelchair was no longer silent, no longer hidden. She laughed with them, her golden eyes shining like small suns. The soldier stood back in the shadows, watching quietly. His lips curved into a faint smile, but his eyes carried something deeper: relief. For so long she had been invisible, trapped in loneliness. Now she was seen. Now she was free. The children spun their orbs faster, the light reflecting off the metal walls, painting everything with living color. The girl lifted her own orb high, her laughter carrying through the chamber. It was a sound that felt like a song, breaking years of silence in a single moment. But then, slowly, she lowered her orb and turned her gaze. Her golden eyes searched through the glow, past the laughing children, past the shining orbs, until they found him, the human soldier standing quietly at the edge. Their eyes met across the light. Her laughter softened into a smile, a full smile, this time, one that carried gratitude, warmth, and something more. She held the drawing of the small house and sun close to her chest with one hand, her orb glowing in the other. Her smile said what her voice could not. "Thank you for giving me this." The soldier felt his chest tighten. He wanted to step forward, to say something, but he stopped himself. This was not his moment to claim, it was hers. His gift had been simple, but its echo had become powerful. He gave her a small nod, steady and calm, then turned slightly, his boots echoing against the metal floor as he walked toward the exit. The girl's golden eyes followed him. She did not call out, but her smile grew wider, brighter. For the first time, her heart was not heavy. For the first time, she did not fear being alone, because she knew she wasn't invisible anymore. The children kept laughing, circling her, their orbs glowing like a crown of light. But for her, the brightest light in that room was the human's simple act, the small gestures that had pulled her from the shadows and given her a reason to smile. As the soldier disappeared down the corridor, the camera lingered on her face. Glowing eyes, radiant smile, fragile but strong, and a final line echoed, soft but powerful. Sometimes, humanity's greatest gift is not strength, not power, not victory, but the simple courage to give someone a reason to smile. The others notice. The girl's smile lingered, soft but real, like a fragile light in the corner of the great chamber. She held the glowing orb close to her chest, and in her other hand, the drawing rested carefully as if it was a treasure. But she was no longer alone. The other alien children had stopped their games. Their shining spheres floated quietly above them, the laughter gone, replaced by whispers. Dozens of curious golden eyes turned toward the girl in the wheelchair, the one they had always ignored. At first, they only stared. Confusion spread across their faces. She had never smiled, never played, never joined. To them, she was just the quiet shadow in the corner, too fragile, too different. But now something had changed. One of the children stepped closer, holding a glowing sphere tightly in both hands. His face showed hesitation, almost fear. He looked at the soldier, then at the girl. "Why, is she smiling?" he whispered, but his voice carried in the silence. The girl froze. She felt all their eyes on her. The warmth in her chest threatened to vanish under the weight of their stares. Her hands trembled. The fragile smile almost broke. But the soldier did not move away. He stayed beside her, tall and steady, his calm presence like a shield. His eyes flicked toward the watching children, his expression unreadable but firm, as if warning them, "Do not break this moment." Another child spoke, softer this time. "She has the orb." Their gazes shifted to the glowing sphere in her lap. It pulsed brighter than any of theirs, light spilling onto her blue skin, as if responding to her emotions. They had never seen it shine like that before. The whispers grew. Some were curious, some doubtful, some even annoyed. Why her? Why now? The girl's golden eyes lowered. Her small shoulders curled forward. The weight of their judgment pressed down on her chest. Old memories of being ignored, being pushed aside, returned like shadows. She felt the smile slipping away, and then, softly, the soldier moved. He did not speak, but he crouched lower, placing his hand gently on the floor beside her wheel. His eyes stayed fixed on her, calm and steady, as if telling her, "Do not look at them, look at me." Her chest tightened. She gripped the orb tighter. Her golden eyes flickered back to him. His steady gaze pulled her back from the edge of fear. Slowly, she lifted her head again. The first child who had stepped forward stared at her wide-eyed. He held his glowing sphere tighter. Something in him shifted, less doubt, more curiosity. His steps carried him closer. He stopped just a few feet away. His glowing sphere hovered softly between his hands. For a long second, he hesitated. Then, in a quiet but brave gesture, he extended the sphere toward her. The girl blinked. She had never been offered anything before. Not a toy, not a gesture, not even a kind word. Her hands shook. She looked at the soldier. His calm nod gave her strength. With trembling fingers, she extended her own orb. The light between the two spheres flickered and then merged for a second, glowing brighter than before. Gasps spread across the chamber. The other children stepped back, their golden eyes wide with shock. The girl's smile returned, small but braver than before. For the first time, she was not just watching the game, she was part of it. The soldier exhaled quietly, relief hidden in his chest. He did not need to speak. The gesture had spoken louder than words, and in that corner something impossible had just happened. The girl who was invisible was now the center of every eye, but whether they would accept her or reject her was still uncertain. The whispers had only just begun. A circle of light. The first boy's glowing sphere hovered near the girl's lap. The light of her orb touched his, and for a moment, both spheres pulsed together, two different lights becoming. Gasps filled the chamber. The children who once ignored her now stood frozen, their golden eyes wide. None of them had ever seen this happen before. The orbs glowed brighter in her hands than in theirs, almost as if the light itself had been waiting for her. The girl trembled. Her chest rose and fell quickly, her heart pounding in fear and hope together. She didn't know if they would accept her or push her away again. Her fingers curled around the orb, ready to pull back. But the boy didn't retreat. His voice was small, but it carried through the silence. "Play. With us." The words hit her like a sudden spark. She blinked, unsure if she had heard correctly. Play? Her. For so long she had watched from the shadows. For so long she had been invisible. And now for the first time, one of them was asking her to join. Her lips parted, but no words came. Her throat felt tight, her body stiff. She wanted to believe, but she was afraid. What if it was a trick? What if they laughed at her again? She looked at the soldier. He didn't move closer, didn't interfere. But his steady eyes held hers, calm and certain. His expression seemed to say, "You are strong enough. Take the step." The girl's hands shook as she pushed her orb forward again, touching the boy's sphere fully. The two lights fused, spinning, in a dance of colors bright enough to reflect on every wall of the chamber. The children gasped louder, and then, one by one, more of them stepped closer. Each child brought their glowing sphere forward, hesitant but curious. The circle grew. One placed his sphere near hers, then another, and another. The air shimmered with light as the orbs touched, combining into a dazzling ring of color around. Her chair. The girl's golden eyes widened. She had never been in the middle of anything before, always at the edge, always watching. Now she was surrounded by light, by laughter, by something that felt like belonging. Her lips curved again. This time her smile was not small. It was brighter, fuller, alive. The children stared at her, then at each other. Slowly, their own lips curved into smiles too. One laughed, a short, nervous laugh, and then another joined in. Soon the chamber was alive again, not with whispers but with joy. The girl laughed too. A soft, uncertain laugh at first, then louder, carried from her chest like it had been locked away for years. The sound made the soldier's throat tighten. He had heard many things in his life, battle cries, screams, silence, but nothing had ever sounded as powerful as that small laugh. The children moved closer, their orbs circling her chair. They began to spin them in the air, the glowing lights, weaving around her like ribbons. She raised her hands higher, holding her own orb with confidence now. For the first time, she joined the game. The soldier stepped back, his boots echoing against the floor. He didn't want to break the moment. This was hers. He had only opened the door. Now she was walking through it. From the corner of the chamber, his shadow stretched long, but his heart felt lighter than it had in years. The girl was no longer invisible. She was shining. The circle of light glowed brighter, filling the chamber with colors the walls had never seen. The laughter rose higher, washing away the years of silence she had carried. For the first time, she wasn't sitting alone. For the first time, she wasn't just watching. She was part of the circle. And as the soldier watched quietly, he knew this was only the beginning. The girl didn't know why, but for the first time in a long time, she felt that maybe, just maybe, she wasn't truly invisible. The soldier stayed, and his gaze promised, "This story isn't finished yet." A small gesture. The girl sat frozen, her small fingers gripping the glowing orb tightly, the soldier's words echoing in her heart. Because no one should sit alone forever. Those words felt strange to her, almost impossible. For so long, she had been invisible. Now, someone had seen her. Her golden eyes shifted back to the soldier. He was still there, calm and steady, his gaze never leaving her. The coin he had placed near her wheel lay untouched, but it seemed to carry a weight of its own, a reminder that this human carried pieces of his world too. The silence between them stretched. The children's laughter behind them grew louder, almost mocking, but neither of them moved. The girl wanted to speak again, but the words were stuck in her throat, tangled with fear. The soldier understood. He did not push her. Instead, he took a slow breath, reached into a small pouch on his belt and pulled out something else. Something smaller than the glowing orb, less bright, less strange. It was a folded piece of paper. Paper was rare in the station, where light and screens replaced old human tools. But this was no ordinary paper. It was creased, worn, and carried marks of being held too often. He crouched lower this time, almost at her eye level. Carefully, he unfolded the paper, revealing a simple drawing, done in rough pencil strokes, a child's drawing. It showed a sun, a stick-figure family, and a small house with smoke curling from its roof. The lines were uneven, the shapes childish, but there was something honest in them. The soldier held it out with both hands, as if it was fragile. The girl's eyes widened. She had never seen something like this before. Not glowing, not mechanical, just human, just simple. He didn't offer it like a gift. He only showed it, letting her look as if saying, "This is me. This is my small truth." Her small hands trembled. She leaned forward slightly, curiosity pushing past her fear. The orb on her lap flickered brighter, sensing her movement. Slowly, she raised one hand, hesitant, uncertain. The soldier did not move. He let her set the pace. Her fingers brushed the edge of the paper. She pulled back quickly, as if afraid she might break it. But then she reached again, more carefully this time. Her hand lingered on the drawing. She traced the lines of the small sun, the uneven roof, the smiling faces. Her lips parted slightly. She didn't smile, not yet, but her golden eyes softened. The soldier spoke quietly, his voice low, almost like a secret. "My daughter drew this before I left Earth." The words hung in the air. The girl looked at him sharply. "Daughter? Earth?" She didn't fully understand, but she felt the weight of the words. This was not just a picture. It was a memory, a piece of someone he loved, far away. Her chest tightened. He had shared something private, something precious, and he had shared it with her. Her small voice broke the silence, weak but clear. Why me? The soldier's eyes softened even more. He tilted his head slightly, almost smiling, though sadness lingered there too. Because you remind me of her. She also wanted someone to sit with her when no one did. The girl froze. She looked down at the paper again, her hands trembling. No one had ever compared her to someone who mattered before. Her lips quivered. She wanted to cry, but at the same time something warm stirred inside her. She lifted her head just a little and looked at him again. For the first time, her golden eyes didn't just hold sadness. They held a spark. The soldier stayed still, his presence steady. He didn't reach for the drawing, didn't take it back. He let her hold it, let her decide. And then, slowly, carefully, she did something she had not done in a long time. She held out the glowing orb, offering it to him. It was small, but it was her gesture. The soldier blinked, surprised. She was sharing back. He smiled. Not wide, not forced, but real. He placed one hand gently on the orb, not taking it away, only touching it with her. The light grew brighter, wrapping both their hands in a soft glow. In that moment, something unspoken passed between them. A bridge built from two small gestures, his drawing, her orb. The noise of the children faded further into the background. The loneliness of the corner began to break. For the first time, she wasn't only watching, she was part of something. And though she didn't know it yet, this small gesture was the first step toward a smile that would change everything. The first smile. The orb glowed brightly between the girl's small hand and the soldier's larger one. Its light painted both of their faces soft and golden, as if the chamber itself had paused to watch this fragile moment. The alien girl looked at him, her golden eyes shimmering with tears she tried to hold back. Her lips trembled, caught between silence and something new. The soldier stayed still, not rushing her, not speaking. He let her lead the moment. The children in the background had started whispering now. Their glowing spheres floated above their heads as they turned their eyes toward the corner. They saw the human kneeling, the strange light between him and the lonely girl they usually ignored. Curiosity spread among them, but none dared come closer. The girl's gaze returned to the drawing resting on her lap. The simple lines of a smiling child, the sun above the little house. It was nothing like the glowing orbs or the bright games of her people. Yet it touched her deeper than anything she had known. For the first time, she realized the soldier had trusted her with something no one else here had. A secret memory. Her chest tightened again, but this time it wasn't only sadness. It was something warmer, something lighter. She pressed the drawing gently against her chest and then looked back at him. The soldier tilted his head slightly, his eyes calm but filled with quiet hope. He didn't demand anything from her. He only waited. Her lips moved once. Nothing came. They moved again. This time a sound escaped, not words, not a question, just a small laugh-like breath, sharp and uncertain. Almost a mistake, but it wasn't. The corners of her lips curved upward just a little. It wasn't wide. It wasn't strong. But it was real. The soldier felt his chest tighten, his breath caught in his throat. In all the battles he had seen, all the wounds he had carried, nothing felt as heavy or as beautiful as that tiny smile. The children watching gasped. Some whispered. They had never seen her smile. Not once. Not ever. The girl blinked fast, embarrassed by her own expression. She tried to hide it, lowering her face, pressing her chin into her chest. But the smile didn't vanish completely. It lingered soft, fragile, glowing, just like the orb in her lap. The soldier's own lips curved slightly too. A quiet answer. He didn't laugh, didn't cheer, didn't break the fragile silence. He only let his expression mirror hers, telling her, "I see you, and I am glad you smiled." The chamber seemed different now. The lonely corner didn't feel so dark anymore. The laughter of the other children no longer drowned her heart. The silence wasn't heavy. It was gentle. The girl raised her head once more, golden eyes meeting his. The tears that had once been heavy on her face now glistened like stars. She whispered again, voice faint but stronger than before. "Thank you." 2 words. Small. Simple. But to the soldier they were more powerful than the roar of any battle. He nodded slowly, his hand pressing lightly on the orb before pulling back. The light dimmed a little, but the glow in her eyes did not. The children shuffled, some stepping closer. Their voices carried questions. Why was she smiling? Why was the human with her? Why did the orb glow so brightly when she touched it? For the first time, the girl didn't shrink back from their eyes. She sat taller in her chair, the drawing in one hand, the glowing orb in the other. The human's steady presence beside her gave her strength she didn't know she had, and as the whispers grew, she held on to her small smile. It was the beginning of something she never thought possible. Her first smile had broken the silence. And in that moment, both she and the soldier knew everything was about to change. The silent corner. The great space station floated quietly above a blue planet. Its long halls were filled with voices, laughter, and the bright steps of children running in circles. Alien children with glowing blue skin played with shining spheres that bounced like living lights. Their laughter echoed against the metallic walls, filling the chamber with warmth. But in one corner, away from the noise, sat a little alien girl in a wheelchair. Her skin was the same deep blue as the others, but her golden eyes told a different story. She rested her small face in her hands and watched the others play. She did not laugh. She did not join. Her white hair framed her sad face, and the dim light above made her look even more fragile. The other children ran past her again and again, but no one slowed down. No one asked her to play. She was there, yet invisible. The glow of the spheres touched the walls, but never touched her heart. Time moved slowly for her. The sounds of joy were close, but also far away. Her wheelchair stood still, its cold metal wheels locked in place as if she were trapped not only in the chair but also in her loneliness. She blinked slowly, a small tear forming at the edge of her eye. She brushed it away quickly, hoping no one would see. Then heavy footsteps echoed down the hall, different from the light steps of children. Strong, steady, human steps. A tall figure appeared at the edge of the chamber. It was a human soldier dressed in green uniform, carrying a small metal device clipped to his belt. His face was calm, but his eyes sharp, always searching, always watching. The children ignored him. They kept playing, their glowing spheres flying high into the air like tiny suns. But the girl in the corner noticed him. She looked up, her golden eyes meeting his for just 1 second, before turning away again. The soldier slowed his pace. His boots clicked against the floor and he turned his head slightly. His eyes caught sight of her lonely figure in the wheelchair. Something inside him told him to stop. Something in her eyes told him she had a story. A silent story that no one cared to hear. He stood there for a moment, watching her from across the room. The children's laughter continued around them, but between the human and the girl, there was silence. A silence heavy with unspoken pain. The girl lowered her eyes again, her hands pressing into her cheeks as if to hide her face. She didn't want to be seen. She had learned that being unseen was safer, but for the first time, someone was not looking away. The soldier slowly walked closer. His shadow stretched across the floor, reaching the wheels of her chair. She felt it before she looked up. Her golden eyes lifted again, uncertain and cautious. The human bent slightly, lowering himself to her height. His face softened. He did not speak. He only looked at her with a quiet expression, not of pity, but of recognition. It was as if he understood her loneliness, as if he had once felt the same. The girl's lips parted slightly, but no words came out. She pressed her face deeper into her hands. Her small shoulders trembled, but no sound escaped her. For a moment, the soldier stayed there, simply breathing, letting the silence speak louder than any words could. His hand moved slowly to his belt. He unclipped the small device he carried, a round, glowing orb-like object warm with light inside. He held it in his palm, the soft glow dancing against his fingers. The girl's eyes widened just a little. Her gaze followed the orb, but her body did not move. The soldier placed the orb on the ground, carefully rolling it toward her. The small device hummed softly as it moved, leaving a faint trail of light on the floor. The orb stopped near the wheel of her chair, its glow reflected in her golden eyes, making them shine brighter. She leaned forward slightly, her hands lowering from her face, resting now on her knees. She stared at the light, curious, hesitant, unsure. The soldier said nothing. He only waited. Behind them, the children continued their game, their laughter filling the chamber. None of them noticed the quiet moment happening in the corner. None of them saw how the human's small act had broken through the wall around the girl's heart. Her fingers twitched. Slowly, very slowly, she reached out one small blue hand toward the glowing orb. The light touched her skin and she pulled back as if it might burn her. Then she reached again, more certain this time. Her hand closed around the orb. Its glow spread across her face, and for the first time in a long time, the corner of her lips curved slightly, not a full smile, but a fragile spark. The soldier watched her, his eyes calm. He did not move closer. He did not speak, but deep inside he felt something shift. For the first time, she was not just a silent shadow in the corner. For the first time, she was seen. And for the audience, the story had just begun. The humans. The chamber was still alive with noise, but for the little alien girl, everything had grown quieter. Her hands clutched the glowing orb the soldier had rolled toward her. She held it close as if it might disappear if she let go. The faint hum of its light seemed to echo inside her chest, calming the storm that had lived there for so long. But as she sat there unsure of what to do next, she felt it again, the weight of his eyes. The human soldier had not walked away. He remained standing just a few steps from her chair, his tall frame steady, his gaze fixed. His eyes were different from the others she had seen on this station. Not cold, not distracted, not empty. They carried something heavy, like he was remembering another place, another pain. The girl looked up for only a second, her golden eyes flashing toward his. But it was enough. The moment their eyes met, her breath caught. She saw no mockery, no dismissal. Instead, she saw someone who was quietly waiting, patiently standing, as if he had all the time in the world just for her. Her small fingers tightened around the orb. She wanted to look away, but his gaze held her like invisible threads pulling her closer. It wasn't force, it was recognition. The human bent down slightly, resting one hand on his knee. He didn't speak. His silence was strange, but not frightening. He seemed to understand that words were too sharp, too heavy for this fragile moment. The girl's heart raced. No one had ever stayed this long to look at her. Most turned away, embarrassed by her chair, or annoyed by her slowness. Even other children avoided her. But here was someone who stood still, choosing not to leave. Her lips moved, but no sound came out. A small tremble escaped her shoulders. She quickly pressed the orb against her chest, as if shielding herself. The soldier tilted his head, watching, carefully. The lines on his face softened, almost like the quiet smile of someone who remembered what loneliness felt like. His gaze was steady but gentle, like the warmth of a fire in a dark winter. Behind them, laughter still rang out, echoing like 1,000 bells. But around them, a strange silence grew heavier. The children's voices blurred, fading into the background, until only two remained in focus, the human and the girl. The orb glowed brighter in her hands. The light spilled across her blue skin, reflecting back into her golden eyes. The soldier noticed the tear stains on her cheeks, faint, but still there, and his chest tightened. He didn't know her story, didn't know her name, but in her eyes he saw something he recognized too well. The look of someone who had been left behind. He reached into the pocket of his uniform slowly, carefully, as if not to scare her. The Girl leaned back in her chair, wary. But he pulled out nothing dangerous. Instead, it was a small metal coin, smooth and polished, etched with human markings. He turned it over in his hand once, then let the dim light catch its surface. Her gaze followed it instinctively. She didn't know what it was, but it shone differently than the orb. It wasn't energy or technology. It was a memory, something old, something human. The soldier placed the coin gently on the floor beside her wheel. He didn't push it toward her like he had with the orb. He left it there, a silent offering, like a secret he was sharing without words. The girl blinked. Her hands tightened on the orb again, but her eyes shifted back and forth between the glowing sphere and the coin. She didn't understand why he was giving her these things, yet deep inside she felt something stir. Why was he doing this? Why didn't he walk away like the others? She looked at him again, this time longer. His gaze did not flinch. His eyes stayed locked on hers, but not in a way that trapped her, only in a way that told her, "You are not invisible to me." For the first time, her lips moved again. A sound came out so faint it was almost lost in the air. Just a small whisper, shaky and fragile. "Why?" The soldier heard it. He straightened slightly, surprised by the soft voice. His eyes flickered with something. Was it sorrow? Relief? Gratitude? He didn't answer immediately. Instead, he let the silence breathe for a moment. Then, with a low, steady voice, he spoke the first words between them. "Because no one should sit alone forever." The girl froze. The words were simple, but they struck her like lightning. No one had said anything like that to her. No one had cared enough to see her loneliness, let alone speak of it. Her chest tightened. The tears she had held back now burned in her golden eyes. She pressed her face into her hands again, hiding, but the orb in her lap glowed brighter, as if it had absorbed his words. The soldier stayed silent once more, letting her cry without shame. His gaze never left her, but it wasn't heavy anymore. It was steady, protective, like a wall standing against a storm. And in that silent corner, a connection had formed, fragile but real.